go to Pete Delkus, our own Pete Delkus there.
20 years ago, a young Pete Delkus found himself on the front lines of Katrina in New Orleans and Baton Rouge.
You're absolutely right.
There was a time in my career that any tropical system, hurricane or tropical storm that made landfall anywhere from Louisiana, along the Texas coast, I was standing in it. And Katrina was the beginning of all of that.
He thought he could ride out Katrina.
For a young Jason Whiteley,
it was unbelievable what happened in the storm.
Racing into New Orleans when everyone else was trying to leave.
And that's about time we started finding out about the lower Ninth Ward and the levees that broke there.
We need some help. Anybody needs some help, we need bad.
And that's when we started getting an idea of how bad this is going to be.
You can't separate yourself from it. You're a part of it.
Chris Lawrence was a correspondent for CNN at the Superdome.
Like, these people had nothing. They were left there with nothing. There was no law and order, no authority, no nothing. It was like society fell apart. A major American city just collapsed.
It was collapsing in Mississippi, too.
And so we hunkered down in that house and just prayed for the best.
Hit by rising waters, flooding.
WFAA producer Jen Holloman worked at a TV station in Biloxi.
The east side of Biloxi, quote, underwater.
In Mississippi, wind and tidal surge destroyed 90% of the buildings within a half mile of the coastline.
I mean, it was just so long. It just went on, and it just felt like it was never going to end.
But when it did finally end, we were witnesses to a different kind of tide, a surge of help.
I remember, interviewing people.
Teresa Woodard witnessed it as a reporter as refugees landed as far away as Knoxville, Tennessee.
They didn't know what to do, but I do remember they were grateful. They were just happy that they had found a home and that they had survived.
And I was like, oh my God, this is real. This is real. It's happening.
WFAA photographer Michael Forbes saw it at the Dallas Convention Center, where thousands of evacuees arrived by bus carrying what little they'd been able to bring with them in plastic trash bags.
And so it'll be one of those stories that, I'm sure we'll never forget. It'll be one of those that'll stay with me forever.
Young college students like Sean Giggy and Brittany Moncrief, one from Indiana, one from Detroit, volunteering for church and school mission trips, cleaning up and rebuilding homes and churches, helping any way they could.
This is something you've never seen before and just hard to describe.
And so you want to do something. You want to help, you want to fight, and you want to help other communities so that way it doesn't get to that point.
Michael Forbes would eventually put down his camera and offer his help too.
I got my church on board, I got my family on board and covered the story. Then once it was over covering the story, I did what I could as a man.
Memories and life lessons from Katrina, 20 years and counting. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.